Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is set to end the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about this film that a lot of people are asking themselves is, of course, exactly where do things go after Episode 9? We do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are prepping for the new Star Wars trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones, as well as Rian Johnson's new trilogy. However, we do know that Kathleen Kennedy is planning a bunch of movies for the next 10 years, that they're actually starting over from what they scrapped ever since the Solo: A Star Wars Story box office results. They are now pretty much restructuring the entire Star Wars franchise and where things are going to go throughout the 2020s. So what's really intriguing is what the Star Wars show had to question and had to ask Kathleen Kennedy during Star Wars Celebration, and they were asking her, what does it feel like, for this to be the end of the end of the Skywalker saga and everything, and the ending of The Rise of Skywalker. And a lot of people have been asking about where things are really going. This is what Kathleen Kennedy had to briefly say about the ending of The Rise of Skywalker. She specifically states, "We don't look at it entirely as an end, but it's the culmination of the Skywalker saga. I'm also incredibly excited about where we are going and what the future holds, what the next saga and the new saga might be." So that's what Kathleen Kennedy had to say about the ending of The Rise of Skywalker when asked about the ending and where things are going afterward. So what does this really mean? This is a big story. A lot of people are talking about this today on what it really means. Does this mean that the Skywalker saga will actually live on? Could this very well be Disney and Lucasfilm's way of keeping insurance if the new Star Wars trilogies in the 2020s don't work out? They could always pretty much revert back to the Skywalker saga. Here's my take of what's really going on here through Kathleen Kennedy's response. The Skywalker saga is indeed ending, but some of the sequel trilogy characters will survive, and some of those characters will be further explored in other movies or other spin-off films or whatever have you. So for example, let's say, if Kylo Ren lives or Rey lives or something around those lines, they could always explore those characters in the future. So that's what I think Kathleen Kennedy means about The Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion. When she says, we don't look at it entirely as an end, but it's the culmination of the Skywalker story. That's a very interesting quote by Kathleen Kennedy, I will say. So what do you guys take from all of this? I know it's a very brief statement by Kathleen Kennedy, but it really does make one think a lot about where things are going. I mean, it says right there in the teaser trailer that the saga comes to an end. And we also know that from StarWars.com, they officially said that the Skywalker saga is ending with Episode 9. This is it. So with that whole entire move by Kathleen Kennedy, it really does, make one think to themselves, where are things, going to go with the Star Wars franchise after Episode 9 besides the two new Star Wars trilogies, right? If you really think about it, Star Wars at its heart is really all about, well, a trilogy format, at least in my opinion. If you look at the Star Wars franchise, what's so popular about it is the trilogy format. And let's say once we get past the trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones and Rian Johnson, etc., where do we go from there? Will they further explore? Something to do with the Skywalkers, or something to do with Rey, Kylo Ren, Poe, Finn, quite possibly in their older years? Very possible. So, The Rise of Skywalker, guys, like I say, we do know that J.J. Abrams has said that there's a lot of different meanings to the official title and why it's called just that, The Rise of Skywalker, and we're going to find out all those different meanings once we go ahead and see this movie come December of 2019. Overall, guys, I'm very excited to see where the future of the Star Wars franchise is going to go after Episode 9. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the new Star Wars trilogy, mostly by the creators of Game of Thrones. Rian Johnson's trilogy, I just can't feel anything after my issues with The Last Jedi, but to each his own. And the other thing that I'm really looking forward to is, of course, The Mandalorian. I'm quite sold on that from what they showed at Celebration and what they actually explored and different worlds that they're actually going to introduce to the fans and revisiting Tatooine. I mean, I think it's going to be great. Now, yes, we do know that Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, really does determine the future of the Star Wars franchise and where things are going to go. It really does all depend on the success of this movie, the box office results, and and how it sits, you know, with the Star Wars community and all the fans around the world. So you can only imagine what was going through J.J. Abrams' mind, as well as Chris Terrio, and what Kathleen Kennedy and everybody involved over at Lucasfilm was trying to do, since we do know that this movie is being used as a course correction after the Solo: A Star Wars Story box office results. They really can't afford for this movie to be an epic failure. They can't. If they do end up having a failure, with that being the Rise of Skywalker, where do they really go from there, you know what I'm saying? So that's the whole entire big responsibility by Disney and Lucasfilm, is to get this story right and to have it sit well with a lot of fans. But anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I am not the one from night to moon.